morning, good afternoon, and good evening. A pleasant day. This is Alejandro Timonen, and for today, I'll be tackling about a topic that is very observable not just in the field of economics, but it is really present in the real marketplace: capitalism. To become socially aware, acquire information, and become that knowledgeable. In today's topic, we're gonna talk about capitalism, its definition, different known types, the impact of capitalism in the society, examples, and if is it worth to exist, likely all about capitalism. Without further ado, let's start with answering the question, what is capitalism? Capitalism is a system of production whereby business owners, that can be anyone, I am referring to all of the people, no matter your gender identity or social class, again, anyone. They are classified as capitalists, the people who are into the practice of capitalism, that will produce goods or services depending on their capacity, if it can satisfy the customers or about the kind of product or on what they do for sale in order to make a profit, to gain money, to acquire money, to have money, likely profitable out of waste. Capitalism is part of economic system. What is economic system? Economic system means by which societies or governments organize to distribute available resources, services, and goods across a geographic region, or again, a country. Economic systems regulate the factors of production, likely including land, capital, or labor. The other known types of economic systems are socialism and communism. Socialism is a system of production where the workers collectively own the business itself, the tools of production being used, the finished product, and the share profits, likely all are socially owned. Instead of having business owners who retain private ownership of all the business and simply hire workers in return of wages, not like capitalism. Communism. Private property ceases to exist and the people of society collectively own the tools of production. Does not use a market system but instead relies on a central planner who organizes production, tells the people who will work in what job. It distributes goods and services to consumers based on need. Sometimes it is called command economy. If you were to ask who and when capitalism was invented, the present or the modern capitalist theory is derived and can be traditionally traced back to the 18th century, the Age of Reason, or simply the Enlightenment, by Scottish political economist Adam Smith. But the real origins of capitalism as an economic system can be traced back in the 16th century or the Age of Renaissance. Types of capitalism. The thing here is capitalism differs from country to a country though. Take note of that. Competitive capitalism. The capitalism of Marx Day in which no single capitalist or small group of capitalists could dominate the market. That's the key term. The next one will be monopoly capitalism. Occurs when one or only a few capitalists control a sector of the economy. That is monopoly capitalism. The next one will be state capitalism. Capitalism in which capitalistic enterprises exist side by side with the state-owned production enterprises, and the state regulates and manages the economy. The followed would be corporate capitalism. Capitalism dominated by public corporations owned by many, again, many stockholders. The next one is managerial capitalism. Occurs when managers, through both their day-to-day involvement in their corporation and their ownership of large blocks of stock as part of their compensation dominate the corporation. The next one is institutional capitalism. Capitalism in which large shares of corporations are owned by institutional investors such as pension, insurance, or trust funds. The example of capitalism that is present in the modern economy is the United States of America. It is one of the foremost major countries to follow capitalism. Innovation led by capitalism has been one of the major reasons why the US has global corporations like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Facebook. The US federal government does not own corporations. Capitalism has unleashed productive energy in the people of the country. This has played a crucial role in the US that is well organized or recognized as such power. This has led to a higher quantity of wealth and prosperity in the US. That is the example of capitalism. The pros of capitalism: economic freedom helps political freedom. It promotes also efficiency. Firms in a capitalist-based society face incentives to be efficient, innovation, to become innovators, because the incentives will help the economy also grow. The cons of capitalism: monopoly power. Private ownership of capital enables firms to gain monopoly power in product and labor markets. Firms with monopoly power can exploit their position to charge higher prices. Social benefit is ignored. A free market will ignore the externalities. Again, the externalities. Inequality creates the social division. Societies which are highly unequal create resentment and social division. Those are the cons of the capitalism. On this video, we're gonna show more about capitalism.
Money used to be about you and me. Throughout human history, money in one form or another has helped societies to evolve through trade and innovation. In the last few hundred years, though, money has gone from being a tool to being the centre, the very purpose of our collective life. And this has happened as we adopted capitalism as the global economic model. The number one rule of capitalism is this: make more capital. The logic behind this rule is that capital makes all other things possible. With capital, which is just money and property in various forms, you can get food, housing, healthcare, a college education. Sounds good, right? The problem is, the way we make a lot of our capital is to extract value from the natural world and each other. We call this extraction value creation, and it works like this. You cut down a tree, make a chair, sell a chair in the market, and collect value in the form of money. So you get the money, and your customer gets a chair, but what does nature get? Now multiply that tree to a lost wood, a lost rainforest, and an oil field many times over, and it explains in part why we have climate change. We are turning so many natural resources into money. Our methods treat the people doing the hardest, most dangerous work as disposable units of production. In the interest of making ever-increasing amounts of money, we are undermining the foundations of life. Most of the money made is going to a tiny number of people. 8 men now control as much wealth as the poorer half of the world's population combined. In other words, the majority of us are expected to spend our lives working to create money we will never see. We now live in a financialized world in which the power to create money is held by privately owned multinational banks, in which the needs of the earth that sustains us are treated as barriers to the infinite growth of our stocks of capital, in which the economic rules push more and more money upwards away from the majority. So money is no longer about you and me. If you think we should treat money as a tool, not a god, if you believe that the logic of the future should instead be about you and me and everybody, if you believe the most sacred value should be afforded not to money, but to life, then the chances are you don't agree with capitalism. And my friend, you are not alone. Evidence from around the world suggests that there are now millions, if not billions of us feeling the same way. We can build new systems to replace this dying one. We can reclaim the future. We can change the rules.
Capitalism is a really worth to know topic. As aforementioned, it is really a broad topic that anyone would have different sides, like the pros and the cons. Again, that is capitalism. That would be all.